I've been asked to introduce myself. My name is Boris Goldovsky. I'm a conductor, opera producer, pianist, and lecturer. I was born in Moscow in 1908. That was before it was Soviet Union. And I completed most of my music education in that country with some excellent teachers. I moved to America in 1930, where I had many different jobs in music, and for a space of time I was employed in Cleveland at the Cleveland Institute of Music. It was during my time there that I received a visit by a group of women from Canton, Ohio. And their request was that they were interested in beginning an opera company in that city and asked if I might consider becoming the conductor for that ensemble. I was very honored, of course, by such a request, but I said, I am much too busy. I have many duties here in Cleveland that I cannot do that. And besides, personally, I thought the drive to Canton on the highway, such as they were in those days, would be very difficult, some 70 miles each way. But I did promise them that I would find somebody who might be able to visit them in Canton and help them with their initial performances. A short time later, I came across a young gentleman newly arrived in America from Hungary by the name of Julius Toldy. In my interview with him, he seemed to be most capable to handle an opera, an orchestra, and I advised him to contact the women in Canton. He did so, and they asked him to conduct for them a first performance of the opera by Bedřich Smetana called The Bartered Bride. Well, I figured that my duties had ended there and I allowed things to continue, but I became rather curious about how things were going with Maestro Toldy in Canton, and I decided to pay them a visit. Well, when I arrived, I made a very interesting discovery, and that was that Mr. Toldy, despite the interview he gave me about all he knew about music, proved that he had never before conducted an orchestra, never had conducted an opera, and the situation was not going very well, if I may say so. So I suggested to Mr. Toldy that perhaps I should conduct the rehearsals and do the performance and let him sit and observe. He was furious. He threatened to sue me, to take me to court. And I said, no, okay, we don't have to do that, but do you mind if I will sit by the orchestra and accompany with the piano? Mr. Toldy had no problem with that, and that is precisely what I decided to do. But I spoke to the chorus and to the various singers and to the orchestra before talking to Mr. Toldy, and I said to them, you must pay attention to me during the performance and not Mr. Toldy. And so through rehearsals and actual performance, I sat at the piano. The entire ensemble watched me while Mr. Toldy stood in front and he waved his baton to the chorus and orchestra who were paying no attention to him. Well, this was the beginning of a group called the Canton Civic Opera Association. And for many years after that, they proceeded to perform operas with regular frequency. Eventually, this choral group chose to explore other fields of music, such as the popular musicals and a large body of liturgical selections, and the name Canton Civic Opera no longer seemed appropriate. But some clever person in their midst came up with another name, Voices of Canton Incorporated, VOCI, which turns out to be an Italian word, voci, meaning many voices. A very clever idea. And their current accomplishments have been under the leadership of artistic director Lauren Weigel. Now, in celebration of their 75th anniversary, the beginning of their 76th, Voci will present a revival of their very first success, The Bartered Bride by Bedřich Smetana, on the same stage where it was performed in 1940, Timken's High School Auditorium on October 18th, 2015. Only this time Maestro Toldy will nowhere be in sight, and everything under the absolute control of the very capable Robert Cronquist. For ticket information, contact the Voci office.